Step into the dynamic world of the Joe Kelley Show podcast, streaming straight from the state-of-the-art radio studios of WDBO in sunny Orlando, Florida. You're just seconds away from immersing yourself in Joe's unparalleled perspective on the most pressing current events, the latest news, and everything in between.
So I've had a smile on my face most of the afternoon after reading a certain news article. Laurel, do you know what news article I read that put a smile on my face? And we have not pre-discussed this at all, so
Josh gave me a heads up.
Oh, Josh, you jerk.
But I've known about this. I've seen this article plenty of times.
I know. I am so excited today. For the first time in a very, very, very long time, I am excited about the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition because for the first time ever, they have chosen Martha Stewart to grace the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. And I should point out that I think Sports Illustrated does like 4 or 5 different covers. So she's not the exclusive cover model for Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. I literally think they have like 5 different covers and they pick, 4 or 5 different cover girls for the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. I have not seen a Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition magazine. Do they still make them? I know that they still publish them, I guess, but Martha Stewart is on it. 81 years old, billionaire, former felon. She served jail time. She hangs out with Snoop Dogg and that kind of stuff. She lights candles, he lights blunts. That's just kind of their relationship. But she's got to be the prettiest 81-year-old that exists. Would you not agree?
Yeah, sure.
I don't. That was not enthusiastic at all. I feel like there really was no effort.
This is not the topic Josh pre-warned me about, actually, so
really?
I was surprised.
Now I want to know what topic Josh pre-warned you about. What topic was that?
It's about bugs and
yeah. Oh, wait till we get to the bugs one. Oh, my gosh. You guys are going to be so freaked out. There are bugs at this moment, Laurel, right now, as we speak. There are microscopic bugs having sex on your face right now. Yeah. As we speak.
Yeah.
And Paul Cross is going to have it worse because he has facial hair. So you're going to have even more bugs having sex on your face, Paul Cross. I feel for you. And that's
right around my mouth area, which is terrible.
Yes,
I mean, I've got nothing on my head. I'm shaved bald on the top, but oof.
So it's actually
why playground, huh? It's a little playground right there around my mouth.
It's actually why I shaved my face this morning. It's like, I'm definitely going to get a clean shave today because I want to get rid of some of those microscopic bugs. So we'll get into the microscopic bugs coming up a little bit later on. But first, I want to talk about one of my favorite topics, and I hope a lot of you who are driving this afternoon is your favorite topic as well, and that is automobiles. I love to talk about automobiles. And there is a new study out now that says Americans are holding on to their cars longer than ever before, in large part, if not singularly due to the incredibly high car prices. With new and used cars still painfully expensive, people plan to hang on to their older cars for at least 4 years, if not longer. I got to tell you that I currently own my car, and by own I mean I'm paying the bank for my car. I don't own it, but I'm not leasing it. So I'm trying to draw the distinction between leasing and buying. So I bought my car instead of leasing it. I will tell you that previously, in a previous lifetime, I had always leased automobiles, and then about every 2 years, I would trade it in for a new automobile. And I didn't like that plan, but I would rather just buy a car and then drive it till the wheels fall off, as they say. But my then wife really liked to have a new car every couple of years. So for her, we were able to lease a car so she could have a new car every couple of years. And so for the first time in a long time, the Malibu that I'm driving right now, I bought it instead of leasing it. And I'm really, really happy about buying it because that way I don't have to do the weird math that comes at the end of a lease and trying to decide if it's better off to buy your lease or to return your lease. Neither are good options. I can tell you after leasing automobiles for a long time. But here's what I want to know from you tonight at 844-580-WDBO or hit me up in the open mic in the WDBO app. A, Martha Stewart, totally sexy for an 81-year-old, right? That's number one. Question number two is, what about your car? What do you drive? How many miles do you have on it, and how many miles do you plan on putting on it before you get a new car? Or are you the kind of person that just has to have a new car every couple of years? 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. We've got live video streaming on the WDBO Facebook page, where just a short time ago, someone was singing. One of our cast members here was singing to our listeners. Not well, I will add. Not great singing, but someone was singing to everybody who's in our chat room right now on the WDBO Facebook page, if you want to check that out. Now, the Americans are keeping their cars longer than ever. Here's the deal. The average age of a passenger vehicle on the road is 12 and a half years old this year. 12 and a half years old. Now, Laurel, I know you drive a reasonably new truck. I think your car is newer than mine. But you, if you can turn on the green room there, please. But you also crash your cars a lot.
I don't crash my cars a lot. Things jump out in front of me a lot.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
I meant to say that orange cones and orange barrels and
raccoons
and brick walls, they just jump right out in front of you.
Cars, they run stop signs.
So you have a reasonably new car, yes?
Yes, I do.
And then what about you, PC? How old is your automobile? I can't hear Paul Cross. There you go.
My automobile is a 2018.
2018. So mine is...
I had a 2004 before that my daughter destroyed in her first year of having a license. And so I had that car for like almost 20 years. But now I've just got a newer one.
There's just something so satisfying about having a car with no car note. And to have a car, no matter how old that car is, but to not have a car note is so thoroughly satisfying. John is joining us in Orlando. John, you're up first here on WDBO. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Very good.
Just a FYI, vehicles today are made so much better. I'm driving a 2005 Toyota Tundra, and my cost of ownership is down to less than half a cent per mile.
Wow.
And it has 700,000 miles on it.
Holy smokes. That's a lot for a pickup truck, particularly.
It's been a great vehicle, and it would have 1 million miles now if it wouldn't do the fact that I had to fly and rent cars and everything for the last 5 years. But,
oh, sure.
It's just one of those things. And I do have with Paul. Is he related to Rusty McCraney? Because they sound exactly the same.
That's interesting.
Just a question.
Have you heard that before, Paul Cross?
No, I haven't, but he must be a great sounding guy.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I can hear a little bit of Rusty McCraney and Paul Cross.
Yeah,
really? I don't know Rusty. I've never met him.
Yeah, Rusty is a good guy.
You need to do a voiceover. It goose me out every time.
Yeah, I will juxtapose Paul Cross's voice with Rusty McCraney. Yeah, and you're going to find, I think you're right about that. John, thank you so much. By the way, quick question. The 700,000 miles on your truck, is that the original engine and transmission?
Yes.
Wow.
Air conditioner, everything.
Wow, very impressive.
It's just, the only thing I've had is just like bearings and
tires,
things like that.
And lots of tires.
Yep,
I bet so. Yep, good for you, John. Thanks for calling. Appreciate that. Let's go to Brian in Oviedo. You're on WDBO. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Well, like I mentioned to the gentleman that took my call originally, I'm driving a 16-year-old Nissan Pathfinder, 249,000 miles, and sure, I'd like to have a new car, but things are just a little bit crazy right now in the car market.
Yeah, they are. They really are. And Nissan Pathfinder is a nice car. I'm sorry, you said it was a 2004?
It's a 2007.
2007. Wow. And
it's a great family car, and I still have kids in school, so I'm able to tote all kinds of children and stuff all over the place with it.
I had one of those. I had a Nissan Pathfinder. I love that car.
Those are cool cars. Very good. Brian, thank you so much. I'm so glad you called. Prices are reaching record highs. Now, according to this piece here in the AP, Americans are keeping their cars longer. Sedans are even older, an average 13.6 years. And they say to blame it on the pandemic, which in 2020 triggered a global shortage of automobile computer chips. We know that. The vital component that runs everything from radios to gas pedals to transmissions and everything else. The shortage drastically slowed global assembly lines, making new vehicles very scarce on dealer lots. And consumers were increasingly eager to buy, but there just weren't cars available. Prices then reached record highs. And though they have eased somewhat, the cost of a vehicle still feels punishingly expensive to many Americans, especially when coupled with the much higher loan rates. Because, the loan rate's now up to like 7%. Since the pandemic struck 3 years ago, the average new vehicle has rocketed 24% up to nearly $48,000 as of April. Can you believe that? In the last 3 years, new vehicles have gone up 24%. So an average new car is going to cost you $48,000. Typical loan rates on new car purchases ballooning to 7%. That thanks to the Federal Reserve's aggressive streak of interest rate hikes to fight inflation. And it's all pushed the national monthly auto loan payment. Wow, get a load of this number. The average monthly auto loan payment, $729. $729. That is astronomically high for way too many Americans to be able to pay that. My monthly payment is right around $500 or so. I couldn't even imagine $729 payment. Experts say that a family earning the median U.S. household income can no longer afford the average new car payment and still cover such necessities as housing, food, and utilities. Used vehicle prices on average have surged even more since the pandemic hit. They're up 40% to nearly $29,000. I can't even imagine spending $29,000 on a used automobile. The average loan rate reached 11% for used cars. So the monthly used vehicle payment is now $563, which is more than I'm paying for my new vehicle payment that I bought a couple years ago, 3 years ago or so. 844-580-WDBO. You can hit me up right now at 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app to let us know. I want to know what you're driving, how many miles you got on it, and whether or not you plan to drive anything new in the days ahead. Are you going to keep that car and just drive it until the wheels fall off? That is absolutely my plan for the next few years. In fact, my wife and I cut back by how many cars we owned. We owned 2. We now only own 1. We share a car, my wife and I do. And she works out of the house, and on days when she needs the cars for either for business or for personal uses, I'm always happy to say, hey, just drop me off, or I'll take an Uber, or I'll catch a ride, or I'll do whatever. But we've got it worked out quite well that we're a 1-car family. And even, like where we park at our home, I mean, we have to pay per parking space. And so we're able to save costs just by parking 1 car rather than by parking 2 cars. And we're able to, save money that way. So we're always looking for ways to save money, especially as I have 1 teenager who is currently driving, and I pay the insurance on her Jeep. And then I've got 2 teenagers who, if they ever get around to it, will get their driver's licenses and will start driving. And then I'm sure I'll be on the hook for their automobile insurance as well. So it is going to be a pricey venture, especially as the kids start to drive as well. My name is Joe Kelley. You can join me at 844-580-WDBO. You can watch the live video stream on the WDBO Facebook page. You can check out the podcast, the Joe Kelley Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast. You can check out our live video stream on the WDBO Facebook page as well. Join the chat there. My name is Joe Kelley. We'll get more of your phone calls coming up next on WDBO. All right, we've got a lot going on here in a very short period of time on a Monday night. So we're talking about, for some reason, we're talking about Martha Stewart, because evidently she is in the Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition cover picture. She's 81 years old. She now is the oldest person ever to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition, or probably any other edition. There's not like there's a whole lot of 81-year-old athletes. How old is Tom Brady
now? Of the fact that I love...
Is he talking to me? I can't tell if he's talking to me. He's talking to me, right? I can't tell. I don't know what's going on here. I'm panicking.
Uh-oh.
Were you talking to me?
I was on the air. Oh, here I am.
Oh,
sorry, Joe. I just had to laugh at the fact you said, for some reason, we're talking about Martha Stewart.
yes. I don't know why that is. These are weird times we live in. Let's go to Celebration, where Tom is joining us at 844-580-WDBO. Hi, Tom. You're on the Joe Kelley Show.
Hi, Joe. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
This goes back to a Mark K show where you said you do not shampoo your hair anymore.
So I've been a part of the so-called No Poo Club for a couple years now of not shampooing my hair. But I will have to confess that in the last couple of weeks, since we started doing since we started the Joe Kelley Show. So what is that? We're on our third week now, Laurel. Is that right? Third week? That sound about right? So like the last 3 weeks, I've been washing my hair, if you must know.
But when you didn't wash it, did you use conditioner?
No, I usually did not, but I would rinse it really good in the shower. I mean, it's not like I didn't do anything with it. I mean, I would rinse it really good, and it looked pretty good, but it would get too curly at times.
Well, I've been trying it, and it's working good for me.
Yeah,
Anyways.
right. I'm glad to hear that. But when you tell your friends and family you're part of the No Poo Club, they'll be like, "Oh, that's weird. That's gross. Stop doing that."
They'll probably just say No Poop Club, right?
Yeah, we got to come up with a better name for it. That's for sure.
All right. I was calling about my lease. I leased the vehicles way back in 1987 for 3 years, all the time with the same company.
Yep.
And my biggest quest was never to have to pay anything down.
That's right.
And so they would give me a vehicle, maybe had 2,000 miles on it they use for their salesmen or whatever. I'm a happy guy. So every 3 years I'd call or they'd call me, "Hey, are you ready?" I'd go in and get another car. And it was a Cadillac. I loved it, been doing it forever. But then in 2000, I got a 2018. And then in 2021, when it was due in, I'm looking at it, and it says the cost of it for me was 18,000 miles. And I only had approximately 18,000 miles on the car. And when I got it, I had 3. I owned several vehicles, trucks, transits, you name it. I keep them forever, 20 years till they can't run anymore.
Very smart.
But anyways, I go in and I say, well, I'm going to buy this for $18,000. Are you kidding? So I bought it. And while I signed the papers, the guy says to me, "Do you realize that if you would have taken another vehicle, we would have had to pay General Motors $24,000 for your car? So thank you for buying it." I said, "Oh, really?" He said, "Yeah, that's what they charge us." I didn't know that.
Wow.
General Motors owns the cars, or whoever's doing the leasing,
right.
And then the dealership has to buy it off of them because they have the car.
Well, and as I'm sure you know, Tom, a lot of times if you're upside down in that lease, which a lot of times at the end of a lease you are upside down in the lease, you owe more than the car is worth. They'll roll over that upside down portion into your new car, and they'll keep rolling it over every time you lease a car. So you literally have to put no money down, but eventually you got to pay the piper. Eventually you got to pay that money that you tried to roll over time and time again, and it could be tens of thousands of dollars. More of your phone calls and comments coming up straight ahead. Stay right there. Oh no, Ellen in Port Orange, you're in a situation where you have no choice but to go out and buy a car, don't you?
Yes. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be the case.
What happened?
I was in Tampa. My daughter was having a major surgery last Wednesday at Moffitt Cancer Center.
Oh, yeah.
And
one of the best in the world.
Yes. And so we stayed at a hotel right near there, and I don't know if you want me to say the name or not, but it doesn't really matter. And I parked the car at 8:45, and we went to go out the next morning to the cancer center, and I was hitting my fob, and no car.
I'm so
we were
sorry
hurrying.
to hear that.
So we weren't, we didn't want to be late to get to the hospital, so we just went in my daughter's boyfriend's car, and then came back over a few hours later while she was in surgery, and we did about 6 laps of the parking lot. and I was convinced that I had had it towed because I thought, well, maybe I accidentally parked it in handicapped.
Sure.
Because I've done it before, and it was late. I was tired, stressed, and so I go into the front desk and I say, what do I do to get my car back? And the very nice lady said, honey, what do you mean? And I said, well, my car, I think, was towed last night. She said, we don't tow cars from this parking lot.
Oh.
We never do that. So long story short, I had to call the USF campus police, and they came. And luckily, well, I don't know about luckily, but the car was found 2:00 in the morning, the next morning. And the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office took care of the situation and had it it was towed to some towing place. I don't even know. I haven't seen the car yet. So there's no tires, and gasoline is supposedly on the inside. And it's a 2016 Kia Optima. So now I'm learning all the stories about how Kia and Hyundai have been in trouble. So
yeah, right. Kia has a flaw in their automobiles that makes them incredibly easy to steal.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And Ellen, the only important question that I really have for you is, how's your daughter?
She is doing incredibly well in spite of 14 hours of surgery. So we are on the mend, but it's going to be a long haul. But thank you.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad you're at Moffitt, as I said, and as you, I'm sure know, Moffitt is one of the best on the planet, and
absolutely,
you're in good hands there, Ellen. And thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And if it's okay with you, I'll say a prayer for you a little bit later tonight, if that's okay.
We would love that. Absolutely. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Ellen, so much for checking in. I certainly do appreciate that. My heart just breaks for you. We're talking about cars and what else are we talking about?
Hey, Joe, this is James in Deltona.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got a thing for Martha Stewart, man.
Oh, yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Right. No, I get it. I also have a thing for Helen Mirren. I don't know. How old is Helen Mirren? She's older than Martha Stewart, right? But a lot of people want to talk about Martha Stewart.
Okay. So to your first question, Martha Stewart, 81 years old. You never said whether or not she was in a bathing suit. Is it a bikini, a one piece? What is it? Of course, she looks great. She was a model before she was anything else. Second of all, I drive a 2002 Yukon, regular size, 500,000 miles. Yes, I do have a savings for a new car.
First of all, I have to know what you're eating when you're leaving that open mic, because I could tell that you're eating something, and I'm obsessed with knowing what people are eating. So if you can leave another open mic and just let me know what it was that you're eating, I appreciate that. Martha Stewart was in a bathing suit, or is in a bathing suit in the swimsuit edition. It's a one piece. It's not a two piece. It's not a bikini, for heaven's sake. But it's a one piece, and then they're classy. They're not trashy looking pictures. They're classy for a classy woman like Martha Stewart. Yeah, Martha Stewart is my hall pass. Do you guys have hall passes? Laurel, you have a hall pass, certainly.
Oh, yeah, I have a couple.
Who's your hall pass? Who's your number one hall pass?
Adam Driver. I know. Everybody thinks it looks weird.
So disappointing.
Okay, well, to get on the main of everybody else, Jason Momoa. Is
Jason Momoa. Okay,
yeah.
Paul Cross, do you have a hall pass? Do you know what
Jason
a hall
pass?
Momoa. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess I could see that.
I've been married 27 years almost, and we've never talked about that. I don't have a hall pass.
Well, you should bring it up. You should bring it up tonight. You might want to have a late night of conversation of getting.
Yeah, right.
But Helen Mirren and Martha Stewart are my hall passes. So
those two are your hall passes, and they're both like octogenarians.
No. Helen Mirren is only 77.
Oh shoot!
Only
I'm
70s.
sorry. She couldn't make the 80 for Brady cut then on the movie.
No,
so that's why.
She could not. Let's go to Bob.
All right.
Bob in Orlando. You're joining us here on WDBO. Hi, Bob. How are you?
Hey, Joe. How you doing? Yeah, listen. I believe me, I'm fully aware of car prices. They're just ridiculous. I'm 63 years old. I haven't seen anything like this since Carter was president, and I'm just glad that the Chevy van that I've got has got that reliable 4.3 Vortex Chevy engine in it, and it's a beast. As long as you keep oil in it, it'll last forever. To give you an idea, the Chevy van that I own is a 94, right? It's got about 300,000 miles on it, I've replaced the transmission about 2 years ago, and about 3 years ago, I had the rear end rebuilt. So, all I got to do now is, what's the next phase is, I got a little bit of rust on there, and I'm going to send it over to a body shop, have them, treat that, put another coat of paint on it, and if I squeeze another 5 years out of it, I figure money well spent.
I'm right there with you, Bob. I think that is an excellent strategy. I know that our consumer expert, Clark Howard, would totally agree that is a much better way to purchase an automobile, to maintain a car, than going out and buying a new one all of the time. You can join us at 844-580-WDBO or use the open mic and the WDBO app.
I have a 2016 Toyota Corolla with 111,000 miles.
Wow.
And I am keeping my car until it falls apart, because by then I will probably be dead.
Oh, wow.
The life expectancy is 300,000 miles.
That's your life? Oh, on your car. I thought that was your life expectancy was 300,000 miles. My father, God rest his soul, my dad died in 2018, just before the pandemic. And my father, for the last, 5 years or so of his life, every time my dad bought something, he would say, "Joe, this is the last car I'm ever gonna buy." And then sure enough, 6-8 months later, he buys another car. "Joe, this is the last banana I'm ever gonna buy." And then next thing you know, Dad's out buying more bananas. But he would always say this is the last car, but he lived longer, I think, than he thought he was going to. But then he died, and then that was terrible. Don't get me on that. Listen to this guy's voice here on the open mic. Does this not sound like a bot of some sort? This guy's voice is so good and so clear. I'm not entirely convinced that this open mic is not AI. Listen up.
I have a 23-year-old Mustang convertible that I will keep until the wheels fall off and then beyond. I have a 2012 car that's my daily driver currently, with 172,000. My wife has a Honda Odyssey van with 170,000 miles of 2010. We will keep these until we can't keep them any longer. Have a good day.
Thank you. Doesn't he sound like it could be AI? Doesn't that his voice sound, his diction was so crisp and clear?
Yeah, besides the little plosives, which make us know it's a human, but otherwise it was awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, I'm not quite sure what your subject matter is today. It seems like people
Martha
are
Stewart.
calling in about vehicles with the high miles.
Oh, yeah, that too.
My brother just did let go of a Baja he got brand spanking new in 2000. He put 249,000 miles on that thing, and he hated to let it go, but he got himself a brand spanking new. Oh, crikey. What's the name of that? The Elon Musk car.
Oh, yes. He got one of those Elon Musk cars, the Pinto. Yeah, no, it's not the Pinto. The Tesla. That's right. He got the Tesla.
Hey, Joe. It's Dan calling from Haines City.
What's up, Dan?
I drive a 2011 Hyundai Santa Fe. Right now I'm sitting in I-4, not moving.
Yeah.
I've got 284,000 miles on it.
Wow.
No car payment whatsoever, which is awesome. It's been that way for a few years, and I intend on driving this thing till the wheels fall off.
Oh, man.
Have a good one.
I can certainly appreciate that. Look, coming up next, if you're like that guy and he's got one of those Elon Musk cars, the Tesla, you need to know that Teslas and EVs, electric vehicles, are not as cheap to drive when it comes to fueling them up. So be it gasoline for an internal combustion engine or electricity for an EV, when it comes to fueling up those respective automobiles, it actually costs more to fuel an electric vehicle. We're going to break down the numbers for you coming up next here on WDBO. So stay with us, 844-580-WDBO, or use the open mic in the WDBO app. Don't forget your next chance to win $1,000 in the payroll payout coming up tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on Orlando's Morning News with Scott and Ez. All right, Laurel, on a scale of like 1 to 10, how obsessed am I with what other people are eating?
Like an 11.
Yeah, I always need to know what other people are eating because I need to know whether or not I'm going to have food jealousy. I need to know, is that something that I should be eating? Are they eating something I was eating? So remember this lady with the open mic?
Okay. So to your first question, Martha Stewart, 81 years.
It's not just me, right? You can hear her smacking. You can hear her eating, right? It's not just me.
Yeah, you can hear her chewing on something.
Yeah, so I asked her, hey, what do you know? I said, hey, let us know what you're eating. So she left us another open mic with what she's eating.
All right. Yes. Ouch. I was eating a grilled piece of coho salmon.
Wow.
It was really nice, actually.
Yeah.
And some really nice Chardonnay. Anyway, which I just spilled on the floor. What were we talking? That's all. That's all I wanted to say. I am so sorry. That was so rude. I'll never do it again.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I didn't mind it at all, honestly.
Don't know what a hall pass is, but I'm thinking Gregory Peck is mine.
Okay. Gregory Peck is dead. Maybe we should explain what a hall pass is, because otherwise that would be really gross. Laurel, you explain what a hall pass is.
It means that if you ever met them in real life and somehow magically you got to be alone with them
and
be intimate,
and that person wanted to be intimate with you.
Yeah, you could do it, and your husband or wife can't get mad.
Right, you get a free pass. It's a hall pass. Right, so my wife knows full well I'm never going to meet Helen Mirren or Martha Stewart.
Right. They always have to be like celebrities. It can't be like your coworker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that would be terrible. Yeah, you can't do that.
It has to be like a celebrity you'll never actually meet.
Right. Yes, it can never actually happen. And then even if I met Helen Mirren or Martha Stewart, I'm sure neither of them would say yes to me. So there's that. That's what a hall pass is. My name is Joe Kelley.
Well, I pretty much guarantee that she's never going to meet Gregory Peck either.
No, she is most certainly not going to meet Gregory Peck. Not anytime soon. Hang on. We will continue. We're going to get into the costs of fueling up your EV. It really is quite a bit more than you had been led to believe. We'll have it for you coming up next. Stay right there. Well, thank you very much. My name is Joe Kelley. Thanks for joining us here on the Joe Kelley Show. If you're just tuning in, what we've been talking about in the last hour, for some reason, we've been talking about Martha Stewart and how Americans are holding on to their vehicles longer than ever before because the cost of new vehicles and pre-owned vehicles is so astronomically high. So let me throw another log on the fire here. So if you're thinking that you're going to go out and get an electric vehicle and you're not going to have to pay so much to fuel your car as gas cars, you might be in for a big surprise. High electricity prices combined with softer gas prices made electric vehicles more expensive to fuel than gas-powered cars by the end of 2022. Can you believe that? It is actually more expensive to fuel your electric vehicle than it is a gas-powered car. And as long as we're talking about cars, and we've been talking about cars and for some odd reason Martha Stewart for the last hour, there's a big change going on with teenagers when it comes to driving. And I have witnessed this with my own children and with their friends. My twins are both old enough to drive. They both have their learner's permits. Neither has a driver's license. They are in no hurry to go out and get driver's licenses. Do you find the same thing that's happening with your teenagers? 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. Or use the open mic in the WDBO app. And I read a story into this. I wasn't just, personally reading into what my kids were doing, but I read a story about this. And more teenagers are not motivated to get their driver's license. A recent survey finds 73% of parents report their teens felt driving anxiety, and 54% said the anxiety was intense enough to be called a phobia. So teenagers are delaying the process. They're not getting a driver's license, in many cases, until they're in college. This seems so crazy to me that 73% of parents say their teens felt anxiety, with 54% saying the anxiety was intense enough to be called a phobia. Now, I remember for us when we were teenagers growing up, I grew up in the 1990s, 80s. I grew up in the 80s. We all grew up in the 80s, right? And the 70s before that, and a couple years in the 60s before that. But back when I got my driver's license, when I was 16 years old, I would have been I was in high school. So what is it when you're in high school? 16. In my case, that was my junior year because I graduated when I was 17. So I could not wait to go get my driver's license because for teenagers back then, driver's licenses equaled freedom. Driver's license meant you could have the freedom to go wherever you wanted, whenever you wanted, ... within reason. Within reason of whatever guidelines your parents have laid out for you. But I was already working. In fact, I was already working in radio when I was 15 years old, 16 years old. So I couldn't wait to get my driver's license just so I could drive to work, drive to school, and then later drive to college. But it is amazing to me the kids these days are so content to not get driver's licenses because they're in one sense they already have the freedom. They have the freedom of their cell phones, they have the freedom of their video games. They can contact anybody, anywhere, anytime. They don't need to drive to somebody's house. They can get rides to school. Everybody's got a friend that drives, and the friend is more than happy to drive everybody. But what in the world is with teenagers these days not wanting to drive? Certainly, you're experiencing this with your teenagers as well. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. I have asked my twin sons, Scooby and Scrappy, on multiple occasions, hey guys, do you want to go out driving this weekend? Do you want to go out practicing driving this weekend? Nah, not really. Nah, I haven't driven in a long time, and I don't feel like. I mean, they clearly lack the confidence, and I think they have the same kind of anxiety. I wouldn't go so far as to call it a phobia, but I think they have an anxiety about driving their cars, as driving any cars as teenagers. I think it just really kind of freaks them out. And I wonder if we as parents have somehow, put that fear in their minds that they're going to go out and do something stupid because, well, that's what we did when we had cars. We went out and did stupid things. So what do you make of kids not getting out and getting their driver's licenses straight away? 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326, or use the open mic in the WDBO app. We're also talking about whether or not you're going to be driving your cars longer because it's getting so expensive to replace them. Paul is checking in from Orlando. Hey, Paul, you're on WDBO.
Hey, Joe, I just want to let you know I've got a 2006 Nissan Frontier 4-cylinder about to break 450,000 miles.
Wow.
With the original engine, tranny, hoses, belts, and I've never changed the transmission fluid. And the transmission guy told me don't even begin to touch it now.
Yeah. It's too late now, right? But I presume you've had frequent oil changes, Paul?
Religiously, every 5,000 miles, full synthetic. And at 315,000 miles, the dealership told me when I had a bucking problem that I needed a new block, remanufactured block for $8,000. That was without labor to put it in. And then I went and took it to a local mechanic who did a tune-up since I hadn't had a tune-up in 200,000 miles. And after he did that, the car has been running phenomenal. I run it all the time on the highway.
How does the paint look on it?
The paint's, well, the Nissans, believe it or not, for some reason in the 06 in the white, the paint peels off.
That's frustrating.
It's an XE truck. Well, but, I did see an article years ago about a gentleman in Chicago that had 1 million miles. He was a delivery driver on a Nissan Frontier, took it back to the dealership, and they gave him a brand new vehicle.
No way. Wow.
Yep.
I got to tell you, I can't picture in my mind what a Nissan Frontier is. What is that? Is that an SUV? Is that a truck? Is that a sedan?
No, pickup truck.
Oh, it's a pickup truck. Okay.
Yeah.
That must have been one of Nissan's first pickup trucks then.
No, actually, third body style. The new one that just came out is the fourth body style.
So there are still Nissan Frontiers then?
Oh, yes.
I thought I knew all of
Just
the
came out
cars.
with a new one.
Yeah, but I guess I didn't know that one. I've never owned a Nissan, so there you go. Paul, thank you so much. I appreciate you calling. Monica is in Orlando. Hi, Monica. You're on WDBO.
Hey, Joe. I just wanted to comment on the discussion about the teen drivers. My son and most of his friends also do not want to drive.
And how old is your son?
He's 17,
Yep.
and he's a junior. And he's kind of a homebody, but, personally, I'm happy with him not driving because we live over near UCF, and there are so many accidents. And you said, you were wondering if there's something that we've done to kind of instill that anxiety or fear or trepidation in our children. And I probably have because I react to the kids driving near UCF. I'm like, this is crazy. These kids are driving, and they drive. And they drive so fast. They drive fast. And one of the kids he goes to school with has a bumper sticker that says something to the effect of, watch out, I learned to drive from playing video games. And I believe it. I totally believe it because that's how they drive. And it's almost like they don't understand that it's you don't get a second chance. It's not just game over and you get a second chance once you wreck the car. I mean, it's pretty terrifying.
Their driver's ed is Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm happy with it.
Do they have any plans to get the driver's license?
Well, just because we're kind of pushing baby bird out of the nest.
Yeah.
So we kind of force him to go and practice. He does not have a learner's permit yet. I said, we need to do that this summer. And he said, well, I want to live in a city that has good public transportation, and I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm probably going to move to Europe or Japan or something. And I said, well, that's good. But for now, it's a good thing to have your license just in case something happens to mom and dad. You might need it. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's
So
where we are
interesting.
with it. But I don't so much mind because it's also saving us some insurance money,
and peace of mind of your kid being out till midnight wondering where they are.
Exactly.
But if they're riding with someone else, if they're riding with another teenager, they're I hate to say it, but they're probably in just as much danger riding with another teenager as they would be if they were driving on their own.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. But I just said, if you want to go somewhere, if we can't take you, we'll just set up an Uber,
And do they ever do that? Because technically you got to be 18 to hail an Uber, but I know a lot of teenagers that do.
Yeah, he hasn't had to do it yet, so but he hasn't done that. But he also, most of his friends, they don't want to drive either.
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
So,
Why is that? What is causing this such a cultural change from when we were kids to now when they're kids?
I do think partially what you said about, they can like, I don't know whatever they use, but discourse or whatever it is they use to reach out and talk. Or he plays video games with people in Illinois.
Oh yeah.
So he doesn't really have the need to jump in the car and ride across town to hang out because they're already hanging out.
Yeah, times have changed. Times have definitely changed.
They certainly have.
Monica, thank you so
have.
much. I sure appreciate I appreciate your calling, and I really appreciate you listening. Thank you so much for that. You can join us at 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. A couple more open mics here. Whoops, hang on. Let me turn that on.
Okay, Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Martha Stewart's 81.
Martha Stewart is 81.
Joe Biden is 82.
Correct.
Who would you prefer to see in a bathing suit?
I honestly thought you were going to ask who would I prefer to have president. And honestly, of the two of them, neither of them, because Martha Stewart, I'm reasonably sure, is a big liberal, billionaire liberal, that kind of liberal. But she's awfully pretty, and she looked great for 81. She looks great for not 81, but we're going to change topics off of Martha Stewart again. And same with Helen Mirren. Y'all stop bringing them up.
So I paid cash for a 2017 Mini Cooper S, and I expected to drive it for at least 100,000 miles, but I had to hurry up and trade it in because it won't make it. If I'm lucky, I'll get home tonight. It's got 96,000 miles on it, and everything is falling off it. Sorry.
I will tell you, I had a 1985 Chevy S10 pickup truck, and as I was driving it to the dealership to trade it in, I mean, the engine started to catch on fire. Then smoke started coming out of the hood right as I pulled it in, and I wanted to stop the car so that the fire would stop, the smoke would stop, and I stopped the car, and I kind of just pushed it into the parking space at the dealership. I'm like, hey, here's my trade-in. Call the fire department. You might need it. So Dawn is joining us in Westfield at 844-580-WDBO. Hello, Dawn. How are you?
Hey, I'm great, Joe, and I live in Wedgefield, actually.
Wedgefield. Got it.
That's okay, though. No big deal. A couple of things. We have a 2003 Chevy Suburban. It was the second family truckster we ever bought. It's still going strong. The paint has faded on the hood and on the top, but we took a tip from my brother-in-law, sanded it down, took the rails off, and put bed liner on it. So the hood has bed liner. The top has bed liner. We fixed any rust that we found, and I hope we drive that thing till it has 500,000 miles on it. It's so comfortable.
Now, you also, I believe you have a comment about do you have a daughter living in Japan?
Our daughter and her husband, who's in the Air Force, were stationed in Okinawa, so they had to learn how to drive on Japanese streets. Japanese drivers are the most courteous drivers that I've ever encountered. We got to go visit them last summer, and the speed limits are low, 55 miles an hour, but people are very conscious of other drivers. So they don't cut you off. You don't see any of this craziness, or people are driving down the side of the road to cut around people. I mean,
we call that
really
the Florida special.
Oh, my word. And so she's having a bit of a time adjusting back to driving in the States. And she's out in West Texas now, or my son-in-law was accepted to officer training school, so he's out there now, studying to be an intelligence officer. But they just can't believe how fast people drive. And even when she was visiting us and we would go somewhere on the freeway, 70 miles an hour would really make her nervous.
Well, but the cars in Japan are a whole lot smaller, too, aren't they?
They are. But again, you have a cultural difference of people. Everywhere you go, people are courteous. That extends to just being on the subway or being on the street, being in line at a store, and being on the road.
I'll have to try that someday. I've never been to Japan, Dawn. Thank you so much.
You'd love it.
Thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for checking in, and thanks for listening. We certainly appreciate it. 844-580-WDBO, or use the open mic in the WDBO app. Well, we got a lot of open mics, guys, from people who want to talk about hall passes, which I didn't mean to bring that up. I mean, I guess I did, but everybody wants to talk about hall passes right now, and my hall passes are Martha Stewart and Helen Mirren.
Hey, Joe. Helen Mirren used to look like Jennifer Lawrence when she was younger. So if you want to see what Helen Mirren looked like, just look at a picture of Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, you're acting like I don't know what Helen Mirren looked like when she was younger. I've got the full gallery of Helen Mirren. She's gorgeous at every imaginable age. And then do you remember we had the open mic from somebody who had a thing for Gregory Peck and they wanted to make Gregory Peck the hall pass? And then we said, well, that's not going to work because Gregory Peck is dead and you can't have a hall pass with Gregory Peck. Evidently, she has found a loophole into this, and she left another open mic.
Hey, Joe, just as your show was ending, I heard somebody say that I would never get my hall pass with Gregory Peck. But you're forgetting something. I'm going to die one day. And when I do, I'm going to hunt him down.
Wow. I feel like I need to go shower after that open mic. That was really something. So, okay, hang on. Here's another one.
Ooh, hall pass. Okay, I got you. This might make you have to look them up, but it's okay. First would be David Morse from the Green Mile and.
Oh, I like David Morse. Do you know who David Morse is? He's a character actor. He's a good-looking guy. You'd like him.
Disturbia. Second would be Viggo Mortensen from G.I. Jane.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Green Book. My faves.
So Green Mile and Green Book are your two hall passes. Got it. Okay, very good. We're talking about teenagers who don't want their driver's licenses.
Where do they want to go?
All they do is sit at home and stay on their cell phones, their computers. They don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So why would they want to get a license? That'll cost them money. It's ridiculous. They're just lazy. Want to sit around the house, get fat.
I don't know about that, but I know that as teenagers or as young teenagers, as preteens, we really wanted our bicycles. I mean, we were totally into our bicycles because bicycles equated freedom. We could ride our bikes to school. We could ride our bikes to a friend's house. We could ride our bikes to the school. We could ride our bikes to a bowling alley. We could ride our bikes to the mall. We could ride our bikes anywhere. But then, the kids these days, they don't really ride their bikes. Certainly not the older teenagers do. And one wonders, maybe they don't have anywhere to go. Maybe they just don't have anywhere to go.
Joe, they don't want to drive because they'd have to put their phone down. But that being said, some of them drive without putting their phone down.
Yes, of course.
Longtime listener from Lake Mary.
Thank you.
Playing the payroll payout
Yep.
on the app.
Yep.
And it is not working. Is anybody else experiencing this?
So it works just fine, actually, but you have to text in you have to fill in the keyword within 15 minutes of it first being mentioned. So the last time we mentioned it was at 5 o'clock, so you had till 5:15. You only have 15 minutes to put it in. If you wait until now, it will show that it's not working because you missed the opportunity. I regret. Your next chance to win, the good news is going to be tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on Orlando's Morning News with Scott and Ez. All right, now I am guessing it's 6:38 right now, so a lot of you are going home getting ready for dinner. You're going to be eating dinner soon, so I want to bring up something appetizing, something that'll really get you going. There's a guy, his name is James Weiss, and he is a microscopist. Did you know that was a thing, a microscopist? What is that, someone who looks in a microscope? That's what it is? So he's a microscopist at Bournemouth University, which I can only assume is in the UK. He has a passion for microbial life, and he captured new footage of the demo decks that were living on his own face. You see, James Weiss had a little black dot on his forehead, and this is the weirdest thing. I just read this article today, and this morning as I was getting ready, I got out of the shower and I was putting lotion on and stuff, and I looked and there was a little black dot on my forehead, and I just kind of scratched it off with my finger, and I'm like, I don't know what that was. That's basically what he did. He had a little black dot on his forehead, and he scraped it with scraped it with a glass slide. I don't keep glass slides around my apartment at all, but he scraped it with a glass slide before taking a look under a microscope and filming it. And what he found is thoroughly disgusting. But he knew about it. He knew they were there. But the totality of the article reads in part, while you're dozing off to sleep this evening, just know that tiny 8-legged mites less than 1 millimeter long are having sex on your face. Described as looking like tardigrades with big butts, demodecks are part of the arachnid class, making them cousins of spiders and ticks. Remember the tardigrades? You've seen the microscope images of the tardigrades, right? They usually come out at night to feast on dead skin cells on your face before retreating into hair follicles and oil glands to lay their eggs. They're laying eggs in your pores at night. But wait, it gets worse. Now, despite their frightful appearance, these mites are harmless and they will go unnoticed. And they can even help your skin by removing dead skin cells. Yeah, but they're gross. Demodecks are tiny arachnids that inhabit hairs throughout the human body and consume skin cells and oils. These mites exist in human ears, eyebrows, and eyelashes, as well as the hairs that cover nipples and genitals. You've got little bugs having sex. Learning these little animals are crawling around your face might be a little unsettling, but here's the thing, we pretty much all have them. Perhaps we can find space in our hearts for these little mites. They're even cute under harsh glare of UV light. Male and female mites usually mate inside a follicle opening before the eggs are laid inside the hair follicles and oil glands. What's more, they're able to fuel all-night mating sessions using the melatonin secreted by human skin at dusk. Are you kidding me? We are the perfect organism for these little monsters. Now, I'm going to give a little bit more anatomy terms here. Anatomical. I'm going to give some more anatomy words here. So if you've got small kids in the car, they're going to learn new anatomy words here in a second. Males have a penis that protrudes upwards from the front of their body, meaning they have to position themselves underneath the female when mating, and they mate as they both cling on to human hair. This is so gross. The larvae hatch, the larvae that are in your skin cell glands, hatch within 3 to 4 days and reach adulthood after 7 days, but their lifespan is usually only about 2 weeks. The demodex measure 1/100th of an inch long, which is way too small with the naked eye to be seen, but can be seen closer with a microscope, obviously. Researchers assume the little mites don't have researchers assume the little mites don't have a bottom, okay, an anus. They assumed they don't have an anus, and therefore they must accumulate all their feces throughout their lifetimes inside their body, and they release it when they die, causing skin inflammation. However, a study published last year by the University of Reading experts showed that they do have anuses after all, and have been unfairly blamed for many skin conditions. We're learning all kinds of new things here on the Joe Kelley Show tonight, aren't we? My favorite part of this was a scene from Brooklyn Nine-Nine where they discuss the face mites and all that.
This is nasty. Terry hates bugs. Too many eyes and legs. Would you still hate bugs if I told you that there were thousands of tiny mites that live in your eyebrows and that keep them from being weighed down by oils? Yes!
Speaking of bad looks, Sarge, what is going on with your eyebrows, man?
I shaved them off because of the bugs. Sharon said you couldn't notice.
Sharon lied, Terry. You look like a straight-up fool.
Damn, Rosa. No, Diaz is right. Your face is horrifying.
This is bad.
I know. He's been like that all day.
No, I was talking about your eyebrows. Whatever's going on up there is real, real bad.
Well, it's better than having 2 bug hotels above your eyes.
But wouldn't they also be in your goatee?
Don't do this to me, Jake.
Hey, Sarge. Holy crap. What the hell is that?
That is a bug-free zone is what it is. I bleached it. I'm smarter than they are, Rosa.
Uh-huh. What about your nose hair?
Oh, man. Terry forgot about his nose.
Poor guy bleached his goatee. He shaved off his eyebrows, all of that to keep the crawly insects, the tiny little microscopic bugs from having sex on his face, and it didn't work. All right, 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic and the WDBO app. We'll take a phone call. Let's go to Mark in Orlando. You're on WDBO. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Joe, Jake, I've become a regular, but answer 3 things quickly. The Frontier that you asked about earlier was the first 4-door small pickup truck that was like the Colorado or the Ford Sport Track, but it preceded them.
Okay.
So it's like that size, and it's been around for like 20-some years. The teens driving. I'm in my 60s. I'm 10 years older than you are, and my daughter is in her early 40s and was that way then. So it's not a new phenomenon. That predates a lot of the social media stuff. It's just they didn't want to risk it, I guess. I don't know. She was pretty laid back, and she drives regularly now because she lives out in L.A.
So at what age did she
to get there?
At what age did she finally get her driver's license?
She got it at 17 because we were living up north at the time, and that it was still a license earlier. So she waited till it was a full license with no time restrictions.
Yeah, well, very good.
And the keeping cars. As a rule, my wife and I keep our cars about 10 years-ish in that ballpark, and hers is coming up on that now. She's driving a 2013 hybrid. I have a little newer vehicle, but planning to keep it for a while. And There was something else I wanted to mention, and I lost it. But that's all right.
Was it Martha Stewart? Did you want to talk about Martha Stewart?
Oh, yeah. Well, a hall pass, yeah. I'm with, I think I'm with Paul on that one because I've been married 45 years and just never...
Didn't come up.
Never had to... I think I'd be in a grave if I brought it up, so I didn't bring it up.
At this point, yeah, it's too late to bring it up at this point. Thank you so much.
No, I mean if I'd brought it up earlier, I wouldn't have lived this long.
All right. I'm so glad you called, Mark. Thank you so much, and thanks for being a regular. Thank you for listening. 844-580-WDBO, or use the open mic in the WDBO app. You can always check out the video feed. We have a lot of fun. We have conversations off the air in the video feed. We say all kinds of things that the FCC would give us the squinty eye about in the video feed because we can say those things on Facebook. We just can't say those things on the radio. So if you ever want to catch the show in the video form, in fact, what I would suggest is like when you go home, right? You go home at the end of the day. I would go home and then I would pull up our Facebook page and then I would project it onto your TV at the house, right? Right, so you just hit that little thing where you project it up onto your TV, and then while you're making dinner, when you're getting the kids home from school, when you're getting ready to settle in for the night, you can kind of watch us behind the scenes here, and we're getting dinner ready and doing all that stuff, and just having us on in the background, and that's what I would do if I was you. That's honestly what I would do if I was me. And I was home able to listen to the show. That's exactly what I would do.
Joe, you mean to tell me that everything we say is being recorded and can be used against us later on?
I'm sure someone is recording it, yes. Yes.
Oh, well, I mean, if people are going to go home and watch this on Facebook later tonight, then
yeah.
I better...
scrub it.
I better stop incriminating myself.
Might be a very good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Is that your cat that I hear?
Yeah, it is my cat.
Is he going to come?
Want to be on the radio?
Is he going to come say hi?
Well,
he just said no.
No,
right?
no. Just
Laurel,
saying
you heard
hello.
that, right? He said no.
I did. That's what he said.
No.
Joe is all about.
No.
He's all about the background noises. So
I know. I can hear. My ears pick up all background noises. I can hear if people are eating. I can hear everything. The guy's sprinklers. Remember the guy who had the sprinklers on? If people have their smoke alarms, I can hear the beeping in the background. I hear all of those things. You guys, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Thanks for your phone calls. Thanks for watching us on our Facebook page. Thanks for sending us open mics. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. It's a real thrill for us to be able to entertain you on your drive home, and we really, really appreciate the opportunity. My name is Joe Kelley. Thank you so much. The Joe Kelley Show. You'll find the Joe Kelley Show podcast wherever you get your podcasts.